Hey guys, Kevin Shaw here, Editor-in-Chief of Mopar Connection Magazine. In this episode, we joined our buddy Jim Hannon in his 1967 Plymouth Satellite to go check out the grand reopening of Crossthreaded Customs in White House, Tennessee. The drive, as you can see, took us through some of the prettiest back roads we could find, made especially enjoyable by the changing season. With the gear vendor doing the Lord's work, the Charger cruised at 50 miles per hour at 2200 RPM, totally manageable for a high 10-second streetcar. Maybe it's because of how badly my attempt at driving Power Tour went this year, but dang, I've been doing everything I can to drive the Charger daily as much as possible. I can't lie, modern fuel injection and an override transmission has spoiled me. The days of wringing out the engine with 488s on a spool and fighting with getting the right jetting to keep the big stroker happy are just behind me. Maybe it's because I'm getting older, but being able to lean in and crank the car over without a dozen pumps of the gas pedal and waiting 5 minutes for it to warm up are really appreciated. I mean, yeah, I'm keeping Marcia, my 70 Plymouth Fury convertible, totally analog, but for the Charger, it just can't be beat. Big horsepower and compression needs a consistent supply of fuel and air, and the ups and downs of Tennessee's weather just ain't friendly to a big CFM carburetor. So Crossthreaded Customs is a small hot rod shop that used to be local to Jim and me before they simply outgrew their old strip mall location. Owned and operated by Chris and Robin Avaritt, Crossthreaded has been pumping out some seriously cool cars of every make and model for a couple decades now. We've done a full-blown car feature on a few of their builds over at Mopar Connection, so if you haven't checked out the web magazine yet, now's a good excuse. One car in particular was Don Wolf's just plain gorgeous B5 Blue 69 Dodge Dart GTS. Although it looks like it's still running some pretty traditional stuff like a 340 small block and a manual 4-speed, it's really a 408 stroker rode by a Tremec TKO 5-speed riding on modern coilover suspension. Again, Chris just doesn't do restorations, everything he touches has got to be just a little unique. One of the best things is that Chris isn't some prima donna either. After seeing a Facebook post, Chris drove over to my house to offer up some tips when I was doing some paint work on the Charger in the garage. It wasn't a big thing, but speaks to the quality of the guy that Chris is. Sure, he runs a successful business, but he's still a car guy at heart and wants to see these things on the road as much as you and I do. Now, with more and more customers wanting Chris and his team to build the custom car of their dreams, the guys at Crossthreaded had to find new digs. That thankfully came in the form of this massive multi-port warehouse in White House, just a few miles away from their old location. To celebrate the move, Chris and Robin hosted an open house cruise-in and barbecue, with a live band and plenty of drinks and pulled pork sandwiches for everyone. The turnout was pretty solid, especially considering how many folks showed up with their cars, hung out, grabbed a bite to eat, and had to leave an hour or two later. While Mopars were in short supply, as you could expect, any car guy could totally enjoy the variety of machines that rolled in. Try 5 restorations, a couple lead sleds, a few full-blown customs, and some serious race cars. Surprisingly, the car that stopped me dead in my tracks was a super clean 5-liter Coyote-powered Bronco that Crossthreaded had built for a customer not too long ago. It is absolutely immaculate, guys. Like every square inch of this thing was surgical. I'm not a big believer in the whole "it's too nice to drive" thing, but dang, this was close enough to make me reconsider that. Look at this. Now that's a clean job. Wow. This guy is nice. Look at the interior on this. Holy cow. Cage work. God, there is some beautiful work on this thing. Look at that plate mount. I mean, just the detail. Yeah, this thing is wild. I've battled it out with a few guys over the whole ratty muscle cars thing over the years, and I think it's because they look at the custom cars like this with more money poured into them than some people's houses, and they think, well, I'll never be able to do that, and just kind of give up. Now, I don't think I'll ever build something as nice as what Chris and his team do, but that's not going to stop me from seeing a project all the way through. Will the body be as straight as that Bronco? Heck no. Or will the paint be as flawless? That's a big old nope too. But that's not going to stop me from trying to make it look nice. I sort of look at paint and body near equal with being able to run and drive. Now I get it. You can still drive a ratty looking car, I'm not saying you can't. It's just that it's only halfway done by that point. Don't stop running the ball at midfield, take it all the way to the end zone, that's all I'm saying. The coolest part for me was seeing many of Crossthreaded Custom's complete and ongoing projects. Chris and his team are becoming nationally known, and all for the right reasons. Inside the shop were some really wild builds, including a few that Chris asked me that I didn't film or even talk about. Suffice it to say, they're gonna be bonkers. I gotta say, custom shops were springing up everywhere a couple decades ago, especially because it was all the rage on cable TV. Now, most of these dudes were hack and they quickly went out of business, all for good reasons. On the flip side, there's a very good reason that Chris and the guys at Crossthreaded Customs are growing like they are. They get to cherry pick the cars they take on. It's not so much about turning out as many cars as possible either. These things are total artwork when they're done, and frankly, the customers usually got some pretty expensive taste. So while a home garage and driveway builder like me won't come close to the level of builder as these guys, it's really cool to see the degree that the pros take the hobby every now and again. After lapping the show a few more times, the kids and I jumped in the Charger and opted to take the same scenic route back home. We rolled down the windows and kicked up some leaves and enjoyed the fall for a little while longer before the temperature drops. I'll still drive the Charger around until there's snow on the ground, but it just won't be the same. To me, there's just nothing like driving a car that you built with your own hands. You know every square inch of it, every nut and bolt. If there's a rattle, chances are you know exactly what it is and how to fix it. It's really an awesome experience. I think that's why a lot of us do this, why we pour ourselves into these cars. Sometimes there's a story to it, sometimes it's a memory, and for a lot of us, it's a sense of accomplishment. I suppose I'd feel the same if I had built the house that my family lived in. Like I was saying earlier, the weather in Tennessee is a bit of a roller coaster. One day it'll be 80 degrees, and the next day there's ice on the windshield. I'm not terribly excited to work on Marcia out in the cold, as she's just too dang big to fit in my garage, so I'm gonna have to figure that one out. For the time being, though, I got a lot of work that I can do inside of the garage, like rebuilding that transmission and putting together her 440. Obviously, I'm gonna have a few videos on that in the coming weeks and months. I'm Kevin Shaw, and you've been watching Mopar Connection Magazine. Thanks again for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, leaving a comment, and sharing it with your friends. It'll really help us grow the channel. And if you want more awesome Mopar content, please join us over at moparconnectionmagazine.com, where new articles are written and published every day, Monday through Friday, entirely subscription free to you.